Why do we have to have a month?
The reason why is because it's people like you who don't understand why we really have it.
The LGBTQ plus community has over half a calendar year.
I don't like the flag. I think it's a piece of idiocy. I don't understand why it changes every bloody week. The gender affirming care movement, Nazi, Auschwitz level awful.
You shouldn't even be giving that airtime. He says loads of nonsense.
Well, you say loads of nonsense. I don't deplatform you. How many men have ovaries?
I have no idea, Piers. I'm not in that situation.
No men have ovaries.
Well, a lot of you on this panel believe that there is only one type of woman, which is cisgender women.
Are there different
it's
types
not
of black
included in the
people?
conversation.
Or is black just black?
Ernest, if I now identify as a black man, am I a black man?
Why are you conflating race with gender, Piers?
I'm just asking you a question, Ernest. Am I a black man if I say I'm a black man? Mothers, fathers,
Oh my God, this is about to get exciting. This is about to get interesting. Oh my days. Guys, welcome back to the channel, and this is another one with Piers Morgan, and we have Am I a Black Man If I Say I'm a Black Man? Piers Morgan Pride Debate. If you're new to the channel, hello, I'm Vera. I do reaction videos. If it's something that you love, why not join Vera City? Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so you can always be the first person to know whenever any video drops. And that's, guys, let's go on.
Forces veterans, fallen soldiers, women, patron saints all have one thing in common. There's one calendar day per year held in their honour, and quite right too. There's always been a source of some confusion to me that simply being gay or part of the LGBTQ2+ community entitles you to an entire month. I'm of course referring to the holy month of Pride, which mandates 30 days of revelry in honour of, as I say, the LGBTQIA. My apologies to A's-2SL-plus community. I have no idea what half of that means, but I'm very happy for everyone to lead the lives they want. And admittedly, after reading that aloud, it all makes a lot more sense. Or does it? Clearly there's a day for every letter, but the serious point here is that this kind of enforced celebration of sexual preferences is, I think, becoming a little bit counterproductive. There are many millions of people, myself included, who couldn't give a damn what you do behind closed doors, or frankly, in the front of open doors, and would rather not know about it either way. I don't care. Why should they be browbeaten and shamed into thinking they're bigots if they don't go on with enforced month-long celebrations? This is what happened when Adele called out a heckler who reportedly shouted, "Pride sucks."
What was that? Did you just say pride sucks? Did you come to my show and just say that pride sucks? Are you stupid? Don't be so ridiculous. You got nothing nice to say, shut up, all right?
Charming. And here's the problem with that for young Adele, who was effing and blinding at somebody who paid presumably very good money to be at that concert of hers in Vegas. It turns out the man didn't shout "Pride sucks" at all. He shouted "Work sucks," to which most people probably would have agreed with him, including, judging by the whining that she's been doing since she got the gig in Vegas, Adele. But maybe he's employed by the BMW marketing department, which has been busy fielding complaints this week about another recurring Pride problem: corporate hypocrisy. The car maker dutifully changed its logo on social media to reflect the Pride rainbow, in keeping with many thousands of virtue signalling corporations across the Western world. The followers in the Middle East, where homosexuality is commemorated rather differently, got the plain old blue and white. After a backlash, BMW posted, "This is an established practice at the BMW Group, which takes into consideration market-specific legal regulations and country-specific cultural aspects." Well, there we have it then. These companies don't care about gay rights. They're not making a stand at all on any principled level. They're just adjusting their virtue signalling to amplify their virtue so they can sell a maximum number of products in any particular country of the world, regardless of what that country actually thinks about things like homosexuality. And as a very unhappy marriage of Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light shows, they will drop the cause like a flaming hot potato if it costs them money or there's any kind of backlash. Now, I fully support LGBT rights. I can only remember those four, so my apologies to the rest. I always have. And I don't need a rainbow on my cereal box, credit card, sandwich or beer to prove that. And I certainly don't need it for a month. In a moment, we'll debate all things Pride with tonight's pack: Esther Kraku, James Barr, and Ernest Owens. But first, returning to Uncensored is Riley Gaines, whose new book appropriately is titled Swimming Against the Current, Fighting for Common Sense in a World That's Lost Its Mind. Well, Riley, great to have you back on Uncensored. How are you?
I'm doing great, Piers. It's great to be back on with you, so thank you.
Well, listen, you're one of my heroines out there because you fight what's often been a very lonely battle against this kind of woke nonsense that's been happening, certainly in the sport that you were so accomplished in. Tell me the premise of the book.
Yes, it was a whirlwind. To be able to add author to my resume now is crazy. But the premise of the book, look, of course, a little background on me, what it takes to be an elite athlete, something that I think a lot of the people who are ultimately making the decisions, making these rules don't understand. More depth and count of what we went through at that national championships in regard to the unfair competition in the locker room. Of course, the silencing that we faced. Again, something I don't think a lot of people understand. Why so few have been willing to put their name and their face to this. How we got here, the trajectory of where we're going. And what we as everyday people, common sense human beings who intuitively know that men and women are different, what we can do to combat this movement.
It is extraordinary to see what's happened in sport, but I do think that the woke worm is turning. I am beginning to feel like the silent mass majority are beginning to rise up and say enough of this. This has to be sorted a different way. When you see what's happened in swimming, in sprinting, in any sport that requires a fairness and equality around size and power and speed, which of course is determined largely by biological sex. It's why we separate the sexes for the Olympics, for example. I do feel the tide's turning, pardon the pun. Do you feel that?
100%. I feel more hopeful now than I have felt in these past 2 years since I've taken this stand. I think parents are waking up. I think coaches, female athletes, medical professionals. I think your everyday person who otherwise maybe would have considered themselves apolitical, probably people who thought this never would impact them, their families. They're understanding now that no one is immune to this movement. It's infiltrated into all levels, whether that's corporate America, whether that's academia, of course, within our government, our media, what have you. And they're understanding it's up to us as everyday people to call out the hypocrisy and push back. So, yeah, I agree. I feel very hopeful at this point in time.
What do you feel about things like Pride Month? I mean, like I say, I support the LGBT community, always have done. But I find this whole idea of a whole month being set aside for celebrating Pride. I'm like, why? Why do we give one day to veterans of world wars and a month to gay people, for example? No harm intended on Mr. Barr here. I'm sure he'll be responding in kind too. But I have no issue with James and his sexuality.
Thank you.
But why do I have to celebrate it for a month?
I should say no issue with yours, Piers.
Well, yeah,
but I would rather you didn't ram it down my throat all the time.
There's no danger of that happening. But I just wanted to... But to be clear, there's no straight month, right? There's no celebration of my sexuality or ramming of anything down people's throats. But Riley, before we all lose the plot here... how do you feel about enforced virtue signalling, where if you don't go along with this, then you're kind of lambasted as a bigot? We see it in all sorts of different ways. I remember with the George Floyd murder happened, a horrific thing, which I wrote and spoke about a lot, about how horrific it was. And it had to affect real change, which it did. But that day when everyone was told to do a black square on their Instagram for a day, and I just didn't want to do it. And I instead posted a picture of myself in my local park with a bottle of rosé and got completely annihilated by people who felt this meant I must therefore be a racist. And I was like, no, I spent all morning actually debating this on television. I wrote a column about it, and then I fancied a glass of rosé, and I fancied exercising my free speech rights to post a picture of said bottle of rosé on my Instagram. And yet I literally had my kids ring me, my sons, who were being bombarded with abuse. What is your father doing? Why isn't he doing the black square? And I feel the same about the backlash that comes with things like Pride Month. It's like, if you don't go along with all this, somehow you must be homophobic, which I'm not. Your thoughts?
Right. No, I totally agree. I just want to know what posting a black square on Instagram, how that helps quite literally anybody. And yeah, to your point, Piers, look, the Pride movement It's not just one day. It's not just 1 month. The LGBTQ plus community has over half a calendar year in days. There's Trans Visibility Day. There's Asexual Awareness Day. There's Gender Fluid Day. I mean, I can't even keep up. And yeah, it's not even about that these days exist or that they're divisive, I think, in their true nature. The problem is, just as you said, the backlash, the risk, the threats that we face if we don't participate, or even if we dare to question this. And again, it's in every single realm of society. This has seemingly overtaken the public square. And I think the same sentiment you had, what people do behind closed doors, by all means, that's the beauty of living in America, in my case. That's the beauty of where we live.
Of course.
But I don't want it to cost my taxpayer dollars, and I don't want to be forced to support this. Because as a Christian, I mean, I don't support it. But that doesn't mean I want to infringe on someone else's rights, just as I don't want my rights as a woman infringed upon.
Well, let me play a clip before we come to the rest of the pack. This is Jordan Peterson, who's gotten to a furore over his video about Pride, where he says a sexually narcissistic movement headed for a fall because it's been taken over by the radical trans lobby. Let's take a look.
There's a real tinge of narcissism, sexual narcissism, the trans pushing, gender affirming butchers and liars primarily target young people whose most likely outcome on the sexual front is homosexuality. I don't like the flag. I think it's a piece of idiocy. I don't understand why it changes every bloody week. And I think the surgery, the gender affirming care movement, I think it is Nazi Auschwitz level awful.
Mr. Barr.
What on earth is that closeted gay man wearing? That is an abomination. That is a crazy load of absolute bullshit. I'm sorry. That is insane. How dare he say that about Auschwitz? Gay people were killed alongside Jewish people and disabled people in the Holocaust. That is disgusting, Piers. That is disgusting. You shouldn't even be giving that airtime.
Well, he's a very famous guy.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be listening to what he thinks. I mean, he says loads of nonsense.
Well, you say loads of nonsense. I don't deplatform you.
No, I mean, I do agree with you. I agree with you, James. Wow, that drawing likeness to Nazis and Auschwitz is a bit extreme. However, he does make a valid point that.
Well, he was talking specifically about
the butchery of gender affirming care.
That's what he was talking about.
I'm sorry. There is nothing positive about basically castrating people and chopping off their breasts and their sexual organs to try and affirm anything other than some deep psychological distress. And I think that's the point he should have made instead of comparing it to Auschwitz, because it doesn't always have to be compared to Auschwitz. That's a very touchy topic.
Everything that's been said here so far, I could write an essay about it. I have so much to say, and it's difficult to just respond to literally all of the insane things that have been coming out of your mouths over the last 10 minutes, to be honest.
What was insane?
It would take
anything Riley said.
I do find behind closed doors
what was
quite
insane
offensive.
about anything Riley said? This is what Riley
Listen,
means.
can I just reply to Esther first?
You
because
can.
I don't want to disrespect
everything Riley ever says, people like you go, it's insane. And when I say, what is it she said that's insane?
It's a great question.
You want to move on?
No, I think what she said about how she doesn't agree with it, but whilst also saying, I don't. Well, that's not really supportive,
doesn't have to agree with you.
It's not supportive.
She doesn't have to agree with
why
you.
does everyone need to support
They
something
don't.
that
They don't. But let me just try and make one single point, if I can.
It's not compulsory
please
to
make a
support
point.
anybody.
It's not that these concerns that Riley raises aren't important, or that women's safety isn't important. All of that is important. And what happened to Riley, it's an important story that we should listen to. Everyone should. And the left shouldn't be attacking you for that. That literally shouldn't happen. No one should be attacking anyone.
Okay.
We should listen with empathy.
Yes.
But I think the issue occurs when we look at abuse rates in America for women, right? It's 1 in 3 women that are abused by men in America. You haven't commented on that. You haven't commented on abortion. You haven't commented on so many things. Trump discussing that it's okay to grab a woman's pussy. You don't make comments on those issues. And those issues are affecting more women than a trans woman in a changing room, because there aren't that many. There's only 700,000 trans women in America.
So because
they
Riley
can't all be abusing women, that would be insane. They'd be busy.
All right, I'll let Riley answer that herself.
There's a reason why.
Go on,
There's a
Ernest.
reason why for this, though. The truth of the matter is that, thank you. The truth of the matter is that there's always this conversation about the woke group, the far left group that's pushing an agenda. But we got to be real about the people like her who's pushing a far right agenda that oftentimes is
She's not
fixated
far
on
right.
coming after people of color,
What are you
coming
talking
after
about,
queer
far
people,
right?
and also pushing an agenda that excludes.
Ernest, when
the
did
same
Riley
way that I'm like,
Gaines
what do you
be
mean by
far
woke?
right?
You don't even know what woke means.
You're talking.
Hold on,
You don't even know
okay,
what
that's
woke
fine.
means, right?
That's
It's
fine.
the-
Can I
it's
just
the
ask you a
rhetoric
question?
that
Can I
you
just
use.
ask you a question?
And that's fine.
Hold on, Ernest.
Right?
Can I ask you a question just to clarify because I'm none the wiser? Define
Sure.
far right. What's the definition of far right?
Far right are people that are pushing homophobic, transphobic views, misprescribing, misdefining terms such as woke. None of you all seem to really know what woke means, but you like to use it.
I wrote a book
That's
about it.
That's not a
So if you're going to
definition.
use
I
woke
literally
every
wrote a
time
It's just
book
people
about
you
it.
disagree with.
I'm going to call
That's
you all
far right to
far
you.
right
People you disagree with.
conservatives.
Wait, see,
Like, you're
okay,
calling me-
hang on.
No, it's the same thing with
Hang
left.
on.
Anybody you don't agree with, you call woke. So if you're gonna call anyone
You're the
you don't
only
agree with
person who
woke
has said
or
woke this
extreme or
entire
lefties,
time.
Yeah,
then
literally.
I'm
I
gonna
don't even know
call
what that
you
word
all that.
means.
Who has said woke?
I'm gonna call you
Let me
all
say
that.
something.
It's the
Not him saying you guys call everyone woke. You guys, anyone you disagree with, you call them woke. And the other lady was correcting him that, but you've been the only one saying woke. None of them have ever mentioned woke. So you're the one calling yourself woke. I am accusing them. Also, this month of June is Pride Month. Interesting. A whole month. Pride Month. Honestly, this whole LGBTQ bullshit is definitely getting out of hands. Imagine a gay man trying to tell a woman who a woman is. So you want to tell us who a woman is? How pathetic. And I'm a woman, not a cis woman. Okay? Keep your labels to yourself. I am just a woman. And the fact that they even talk at the same time, arguing. Oh my god. Imagine two men trying to tell two women who they are. Really? What are your takes on this? What do you guys think about this video? Drop a comment down below. I totally enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, give it a huge thumbs up and please share this video. And if you're new to the channel, join VeraCity. Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so that you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. And that's guys, see you in my next video. Bye guys.